Hello everyone, my name is Isaiah Juarez, and today I will be giving you insight on a specific culture that is important to me and my sense of identity. Before I get into the video, I would like to clarify that finding a specific culture is very significant to establishing a sense of connection, which further creates the mindset of belonging and a sense of purpose. Sharing traditions or common interests or maybe even beliefs and ideas is something that can innovate positive communication depending on the type of culture you're aligned with. Without a legitimate incentive to join another group or a specific culture, we would have no idea of how to communicate or work together with other people. The most impactful culture to me has always been street skating, and that's what I will be covering for this video. And the three main points I will clarify are how I became a part of the culture, what we would do as a group, and also memorable experiences I have had which reflect on why this group is such important to me in the first place. Now, let's get right into it. To start off on my first point on how I became a part of the street skating culture, my best friend that I've known since 3rd grade, Jonathan, would ride his skateboard with his friends after school. When Jonathan presented his skateboard to me, I was intrigued to get my own. Despite me being totally interested in wanting to own a board, the act of riding a skateboard made me feel nervous since when I was younger, around about the age of either 9 or 10, I believe, my neighbor used to show me how to ride a skateboard, but since I was too nervous, I never even thought about trying. Regardless of feeling nervous if I were to ride a skateboard, the deeper connections I wanted to make with Jonathan and his friends mattered to me the most since he was the brother I never had. The second point I'd like to make involved in this section is how I got my first skateboard. In 2017, as a Christmas present, my father paid for me to customize my own skate deck. Choosing all the parts was so exciting because every part that I chose was unique to my own personality. The deck I chose was of the Rip and Dip brand and had Spitfire wheels. Once I held my skateboard for the first time, I felt that it was a friend that deserved my respect. After the holidays and once I returned to school, the skate group officially accepted me as a member. Furthermore, Jonathan was proud of me for making a worthwhile decision that was based on deepening our friendship with him in the group. To this day, I still have my skateboard in good condition and I keep it as a positive memento of the past. Now let's get on to the second section of the video, which is what we would do as a group. Although I did not know any tricks, my hobby of filming gave me a productive position in the group, especially when I got my first GoPro, which was a Hero 7 on my 17th birthday, and it costed me around about $400. I knew though that it was worthwhile to pay that much money since it was going to last me a very long time filming skate videos and then uploading them to Instagram. And right now I don't have any videos because, well, I get very self-conscious about perfection and then starting new accounts, so that's my fault. The group and I usually hung out at Fresno High on the weekends since we got out of school around about 3 p.m. Unless my parents insisted that I go home, I was always hanging out with Jonathan and the skate group. And the second point I would like to make, if we were to hang out on our days off, we would climb the rooftops of bungalows and other small buildings. The buildings we climbed weren't too tall since we didn't want ourselves to get killed if we were to fall off and something bad were to happen to us. Whenever we were on the rooftops, I noticed that John and some of the others were very confident in either doing kickflips or ollies on the roof. Moreover, if we were to hang out in some other area besides Fresno High, we would either skate down Van Ness or in the middle of the Tower District. Once in a while, we would go to John's house, buy a pizza from Little Caesars, and just listen to music. Fun little fact that I'd like to mention is that we would shotgun Red Bulls instead of drinking beers since we were minors. Either way, any of us who would challenge each other to a Red Bull shotgunning competition would be rewarded since the caffeine we would drink allowed us to have an even more insane skate down the street. Now let's get to the third section of the video, which is the memorable experiences I've had with the skate culture. On the last week of summer before our junior year, Jonathan, his friend Hunter, and I went skating around downtown district in Fresno. Even though we knew that downtown was dangerous, we understood that if we came across any issues with somebody who had a problem with us, then we had each other's backs. However, while Hunter was skating down a huge downward slope of a parking lot, I couldn't help but hear yelling behind me. I turned around and it turned out to be a homeless person with a butterfly knife chasing Jonathan, commanding him to give him money. Hunter and I stepped in with no hesitation, and once we did, the homeless person immediately stopped and gave us excuses for why he attacked John. One thing I'd like to note that is that even though that guy had a butterfly knife, These can cause a lot of blunt force damage, especially when this surface is made out of sandpaper. One of the most memorable moments of being a part of street skating was a funny encounter that my friends and I had with the police. I don't remember the exact day, but this occurred during my sophomore year in high school. I got up early around about 7:20 to meet with Jonathan and some of his friends, David and Aiden. Funnily enough, when I arrived, a police unit suddenly came due to a potential gunshot that overheard on their police scanners. The officers then instructed us to put our hands on a nearby fence so that they can search us for any weapons that we could have possibly had. This was the first time I was ever searched by a police officer, and it was not really a fun experience, and it's very uncomfortable to go through. But that aside, of course they didn't find any firearms on us, but after the unit left, Aiden showed me a bang snap firecracker that he had in his pocket. Since it was so early and the firecrackers were so loud and they were kept on throwing down the bang snaps over and over again until they ran out of some of them, the police scanner perceived it to be a potential gunshot. Sometimes I look back at that situation and laugh because I think about how much of a coincidence it was for me to show up and then afterwards for a police unit to show up. I know a lot of these moments, like being potentially robbed by a homeless person or being searched by police because you had firecrackers on you, are problematic, but actually they opened my eye a bit to understanding how different the realities of other groups and cultures are outside of my own reality. With all that drama out of the way, I'd like to get to the conclusion. Today, I presented the culture that positively impacted my teenage years in my life, how I became a part of the street skating culture, what we would do, and the memorable experiences I have gained caused me to reflect on how important it is to connect with others. The shared interest with the group allowed me to gain a sense of belonging and stand up for those I care about during intense conflict. Despite being in situations that I would consider problematic, I always thought of street altercations or public issues as something that was inevitable. Yet because I was with those I have trusted for years, I felt comfortable and protected from the peculiarities of the public. My life would have been much different had I not joined the street skating culture. Now with that out of the way, thank you so much and have a good day.